Good evening. It is Monday, September 11th, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the Susan Tully Lively Boardroom of the 1887 building. I'd like to call, if there's a quorum, but I'd like to call a roll call vote, please.
Yes, Mr. Andre.
Here.
Mr. Gayhart.
Here.
Mr. Gatton.
Here.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Here.
Mr. O'Donnell is, I apologize, excused. And Mrs. Reckley is
Here.
Mr. Scarrow.
Here.
Mr. How's it pronounced? Barks?
Barkis.
Barkus? Mr. Barkus?
Here.
And welcome to your first student representative board meeting, and Mr. Forster.
Here. Oh, both of you.
And Mr. Barkus and Mr. Forster are our new student school board reps for the coming school year.
Awesome. All right, we do have a quorum. So I would like to start out with, first notice that this meeting was noticed per state statute, and then ask if there's any community participation. I am going to read a statement regarding community participation, and then I'm actually going to read a statement myself first. And then after that, I will open it up to the rest of the community. Pursuant to School Board Policy 187, residents of the Elkhorn Area School District, families of district students and employees wishing to address the board may do so in person. The verbal comment period shall last no longer than 30 minutes, limited to 3 minutes maximum per person. I'll skip that sentence, it's about emailing. The contents of the email, a reminder for citizens that are speaking during the community participation to complete the sign-in sheet by the door to accurately provide the administration with name, address, phone number, and email if available. This will help the administration with any follow-up if needed. Finally, the community participation period is an important time for the Board of Education to hear concerns, gratitude, etc. of its constituents. That said, prior to making a statement, please be aware that each speaker bears the personal risk if anything they say during community participation at the school board meeting is defamatory, slanderous, or otherwise harmful to another individual. So I'm just going to start. Julia Ingersoll, resident of the Elkhorn Area School District and acting president of the school board. As we begin tonight's school board meeting, I want to take a moment to honor the memory of those who lost their lives on this, the 22nd anniversary of 9/11, as we often refer to it now. Most of us in this room likely didn't personally know anyone who was lost on that tragic day. But I can guarantee you that we all felt the impact of that day and can probably tell you exactly where you were and what you were doing when you heard the news. Personally, I am living out the impact of that day 22 years later through my son's decision to enlist in the Navy. When asked why he decided to join the Navy, he will tell you that the events of 9/11 greatly influenced his decision. He was 9 months old when it happened. Why am I taking time out of our evening to mention the events of 9/11? First and foremost, because the men and women who lost their lives on that day deserve to be remembered. Because on September 12th, this nation came together like I've never witnessed before in my 55 years on Earth, as the United States of America. Because just 22 years later, I am witnessing a country divided more than at any other time in my lifetime. I don't ever want to forget what happened to our country on 9/11, 2001. But more than that, I do want us to remember September 12th, 2001. Because on that day and the days following, at least for a time, we set our differences aside and we were united as families, communities, as states, and as a country. I pray that it doesn't take a national tragedy for that to happen again. Tonight, as your elected school board members, we want to publicly honor the memories of those who lost their lives on 9/11. We honor the families who were left behind to mourn their loss. And in the spirit of September 12th, 2001, we commit to doing whatever it takes to serve and protect all children of the Elkhorn Area School District. Thank you. Is there any community participation? Anybody who wants to make a statement? Just make sure you state your name and for the record.
Hi, my name is Jamie Saunders. I'm a resident of Elkhorn. There's been plenty of talk lately about at board meetings about our students and what we think they need. When students lose a parent, struggle in school, our parents are getting divorced, or they come back from hospitalization, we support them. It's what we do. We support kids. There's teachers in this room, they support kids. This is my 5th year as a district employee and 6th year in the community. I take great pride in living here and working here and raising a family. I've been in education for 17 years. My bottom line has forever and will always be kids. Kids. I don't care the color of their skin, their sexual preference, or the name they like me to call them. I do know how crucial it is for each and every student to know how much they are cared for. I've seen with my own eyes and my own heart how hard some days are for our students. Being a teenager in 2023 has to be nearly impossible. All we can do as a community is help guide, listen, and truly care for these kids. Since I've started in Elkhorn, I have been to 2 student funerals who took their lives. Nothing a parent, a community, or students should ever have to go through. My wish is that the larger community would start taking a look at the students' eyes. Ask a group of high school kids what they really want. Really ask them. Most likely it's not material things. I have kids in my office daily. When I ask them, what do you want? What do you need? They look at me and say, nobody ever asked me that. They said they need to be heard and sometimes even seen. As adults, we need to open our minds, start having bigger conversations with our kids and see all sides. A few takeaways. Not all kids fit into a box. Let's knock those walls down, see them for who they are, and teach our kids to appreciate the differences. Number 2, bottom line is kids. It always has been. All kids need to feel safe and welcome, not just in our school, but in our community.
Anyone else?
Blair Sober, parent and employee.
And your name?
Ellen Blair Sober.
Okay, thank you.
Many of you know I wear 2 hats in the district. One is AP at the high school and another is a parent of 2 in the elementary schools. In my previous 22 years in education, I was fortunate enough to experience 0 student suicides. Since becoming an AP, within the last 3 years, we've suffered losing 2 young students to suicide. Even with all the support we offer, still we're left with holes in our hearts and minds, wondering what we could do to make it better for all students. Fast forward to this past week, or rewind to this past week, another student comes forward struggling with sexuality and thinking suicide. Teaming with the school psychologist, both of us listening, asking questions, working with parents in crisis, provide whatever support we can to the students and parents. Tears, talking, more tears shed. In the end, all we could do was hope that we were able to help. After the meeting, we all felt helplessness, and that often comes with the job, and we always wanted to do more. This one example is of many that occur in the school. Students find their support at school through friends, staff, various groups. Supporting our students any way we can is the #1 goal. Students are the backbone of our existence at school. I will do and fight for anything that will help make their lives the best they can be, so that there is no option in their minds but to live. All children, especially those with little or no voice, are the ones that need our most support. What we need to understand is this: books don't change a person, curriculum doesn't change a person. So putting material things on a chopping block and using it as an excuse. Let educators educate, let counselors counsel, and let's just teach everyone to be kind to one another. As a parent, in this district, I chose to bring my sons here. Besides being a fantastic school district education-wise, people are very accepting of me, and I knew my sons would feel the same. But lately, with certain groups calling on removal of choice books and policies being written, I've gone quite quiet, unsure of questioning if I made the right move to bring them here. My son had joined a soccer club here and found myself talking to another mom using we instead of my wife and I. I don't want people not accepting my son because I happen to be gay. Then I thought, what kind of example am I setting? I'm not saying it for things that I want my sons exposed to. Choice books are choice books. You can choose to read them or you don't. I want my sons to have those choices in their education. Putting limits on flags only hurts our most vulnerable students from feeling accepted and welcome. Recently, I made a post about donuts for grown-ups and added a picture of my wife and sons. And what struck me were the comments on Facebook about how wonderful it was to see the inclusive language that Elkhorn used. All students are our responsibility, not just the ones who have parents the loudest voices, all students. Elkhorn did not get to be the best by listening to negativity. They heard good people start at the top and trusted each other to do what's best for our students. I will always remain true to that. Students are our backbone and they are our future. Thank you.
Anything else?
Dwayne, my son, took his own life. Dwayne, a 16-year-old, took his own life. Dwayne, a student at Elkhorn Area School District, took his own life. Dwayne, someone who befriended everyone, took his own life. Dwayne, someone who identified with and supported everyone, including those in the LGBTQ plus community, took his own life. In 2022, even when he could see the support of some of his teachers, he still felt uncomfortable and was unable to see a reason to keep going. And in 2020, another student suffered that same fate. Why is this important to me? Because the board is going to vote on a new policy that says a lot by what it leaves out. It does not say that we are banning the LGBTQ plus flag explicitly, but that's exactly what it is doing. While we never actually discuss the flag with our students, it and representations like it are there for those who need it. This flag in a classroom means you're safe with me. It also means I'm someone you can talk to if you're in distress. It's a visual that means I am safe. Asking teachers to not display support of a group of students in a public institution is nothing short of institutional discrimination, no matter how it is worded. I ask you, how are these students supposed to feel supported? They're already noticing that symbols of support from last year have been taken down and are missing this year. So I ask you, where will it end? What will be the target at the next meeting? As a mom, as a community member, I'm saying this is not okay. Recently, books with LGBTQ plus characters and their authors were under attack, and now this. I don't want Elkhorn to be known as a school where some students do not feel safe, where some students cannot see themselves. Teachers are not using these symbols as political statements. Rather, they're saying, you are welcome here. They are saying, I see you, I value you, and I will make sure that you're protected. As a mom who found her son lifeless, a son who was full of life and described as a light countless times, I'm asking you please to not support that policy brought before you tonight.
Anybody else?
I don't have anything prepared, but I would like to thank the board for the listening sessions that we did a week and a half ago now, 2 weeks ago, where we had a chance to communicate with you guys. I thought that was absolutely outstanding that you guys took the time to do that. I felt that we were heard. I thought that was really you guys always hear the negative. I want to give you guys a little kudos as well. I will always tell you that actions are going to speak louder than words. I listened to what you said. I respect what you said. I respect that you guys had a chance to listen to us. And I guess your actions will always speak louder than words with all those kind of comments. I think I've had the pleasure of co-teaching every family member up here. I got this goofball and I've had that, right? And I'm glad that they're here participating in what's going on. My biggest concern is 29 years in this district as a teacher that bleeds purple and yellow now. All right. I'm an Elk through and through. And my son going to school here, is the outside noise doesn't get calmed down, there's going to be too many great teachers that are going to throw their hands up with the noise and be done with it. And I want my son to be taught by great teachers. And we have a lot of great teachers, a lot of great caring teachers, right? And my only concern is with all the outside noise going on, how much is going to be enough? Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Don't forget to state your name.
My name is Kristen Jackson. I have one graduate of Elkhorn. She's 23 now. I have a senior daughter in high school, and I have an 8-year-old daughter who just started options. I have I've considered all of these issues drastically, and I in no way, shape, or form support any kind of discrimination and accept all people. I know that there's a lot of people out there who seem to be feeling discriminated against because of their sexual preferences, and that's sad. My uncle, my mom's brother, who's been a big part of my life, he's married to my Uncle Mike. They live in San Francisco. They're wonderful people. My main concern, the flag, the LGBTQ flag has become not just a discrimination awareness flag anymore. It's become more of an ideology, an agenda that's being put forth. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared. Had my thoughts completely articulated right now, but it is something that is becoming distracting within the school. There's got to be another way to show support for everyone without putting forth these outside politics in our minds, in the children of our mind, in the minds of our children during school. They're there for academic reasons. My heart goes out to anybody who suffers from discrimination or in any manner, but it's become more than just the superficial, especially since the gender dysphoric stuff has been integrated with, it's a completely separate issue. Sexual preference is completely separate from the gender dysphoric issue. And it's been combined as one, and it's very confusing, and it's very controversial on so many levels. And that is why it's, as a parent, talking with the students, talking with our children, and having it creates issues amongst them. So I don't think it's a ban or a discrimination against any people. It's bringing elements into the school that are not what they used to be, and it's getting more difficult to manage. And that's where I stand with that. As far as the books are concerned, there's books out there that go into depth on issues that are far beyond just gay and lesbian couples. There's sexual content. I'm sorry. It's very discriminative. It's descriptive sexual content that does not need to be in books for children. And I'm sure that there's got to be a better way to decide which books are too much for our children. And there's so many different ones out there. I guess it's just deciding which ones are bad and which ones are good. Any kind of pornography is not good, and even in high school. So that's where I am with that. And I can't imagine what the teachers are going through today. I know it's really hard for you guys and school board members trying to navigate these very controversial topics. And somehow we have to come together and talk about, because I'm sure we're not really far off from what we want our children to be learning and be able to express. But we have to focus on academics and learning and not bring out the outside world problems to our children, especially the young ones, elementary students. So maybe if there was a better way for us to discuss this as adults, so we're not so far one direction and so far another. I'm sure as adults, we can find a common area that we're all happy with. That's all I have to say.
Is there anybody else?
I wasn't going to talk, Dan Keel, high school principal and community member. This hearing, parts of people that I work with every day go through. I've known most of you for quite a few years, know a lot of your kids. I don't think that you're trying to discriminate, but I do think that with a few of the things that have happened, and some of them coincidentally, and just there seems to be a perception that could be going on. I don't have the answers, but I do think we have to support every single kid that walks through the door. I've been through 4 suicides since I've been in Elkhorn, and staff can't do it. you can't do it. And whatever we need to do to help these kids, I think that's what we need to keep first and forefront. We will work every bit we can with the parents to find the best solution we can for the kids. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Juan Medina. I'm a resident of Elkhorn. I grew and raised. I am a parent of a transgender child that is going into middle school, and it is very difficult to see that child go through school and feel like they are an outcast, and then being told that they can only associate themselves with certain restrooms, even though that child is identifying themselves as the opposite gender. It's not easy for the parent, it's not easy for the child. And the fact that Elkhorn has already experienced 4 different suicides related to this type of issue, I really think that there's a bigger problem that needs to be spoken about with the community as well as the school board. You don't want children committing suicide because they're not comfortable with themselves or their social identity. Educating the children at a younger age is something that's going to be very difficult, but it's something that really has to be spoken about because we're all different. And we're going to grow up being different people that have different spouses, different partners. I'm actually from Florida, along with my wife, and we both grew up in one of the most diverse areas in the entire world. I had coworkers that were gay, lesbian, transgender. They were my neighbors, they were my friends, and I was fortunate to actually grow up in a very diverse environment. I feel that Elkhorn is on the verge of actually being able to do that, but there are certain people in the community that are probably just against it because they don't have the understanding of what that really means. And I think that Elkhorn and the school district can lead by example with other school districts out there as well by implementing policies that actually protect these individuals and these students. You want them to flourish. You want them to be proud of where the school that they're going to. You want them to feel like they are allowed in the school district in which they actually are going to. You want them to graduate with high honors and represent Elkhorn in the future as they become adults. And if you prevent that at a young age, then Elkhorn's reputation is not going to be good. Right now there's more diversity coming into Elkhorn. It's not like it was 20 years ago. It's changed. There are more diverse people. There's more people of different color. There's more people of different backgrounds. And I just think it's very important that the decision that you guys are going to be making tonight is going to be a very important decision. And you really should definitely think about it hard before you cast your vote. Thank you.
Just a couple minutes left. Is there anybody else who wanted to speak?
I'm Melissa Handel, from Melissa Bollinger. I've had some of you teachers and I've worked with many of you, and I'm so thankful for everybody here. I know that everyone's gone through different experiences, and thank you, school board, for all the work that you do. I know that everyone is kind of in a difficult position. But as a parent with kids in the district, I wish that there was something that could prevent all kids from harming themselves and for everyone to be included, but it just, unfortunately, there's not. A flag isn't going to prevent children from hurting themselves or someone bullying someone else. And it's not okay. It should never be okay for anyone to ever bully anyone else or to not feel accepted. But I think all kids should be safe in every classroom. It shouldn't have to be specified certain classrooms. The kids should have to wonder, am I safe here? Am I safe there? They should be safe in every classroom and welcome in every classroom. And I just want to encourage the school board just to keep the focus on the academics and keep the controversial stuff out at home for families to deal with. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, then I think we will move on to the next item on the agenda.
Yes, Erica Card is here to present on a outside program, which is partnered with and where students are taking advantage of the school district, but I want to still be a first under, but you go ahead and speak to Love Beyond Measure.
Thanks for having me. So Love Beyond Measure was something that just, I was seeing with the COVID, our students were struggling with a variety of things, whether it be like, I'm not the best person on the athletic team, I need encouragement that way, or it can be any variety of things. I'm struggling with depression, I'm struggling with whatever. And so it was really put on my heart about a year ago to start encouraging our students and figure out a way that we could start doing them. So I approached Ryan McBurney last year and talked with him a little bit about it. And I said, I think I could get 30 sponsors to just give encouraging notes to our students. I will look through them. We'll put them in their locker so it doesn't disrupt the school day in any way. And in that, last year, Love Beyond Measure was born. And I think, did you guys get this flyer? Okay, perfect. So it kind of tells you on there how it works. So the student basically enrolls their child into the program. They fill out a survey that we have that's confidential just for our Love Beyond Measure staff. And then they're paired with a trusted sponsor. All the sponsors have a background check so that we're obviously working with students. That is very important. The student safety is what's utmost important with us. And then once per month or more, it's really up to the sponsor. They drop off to the school office, to a delivery team, their encouragement. The delivery team then makes sure they look at it before it goes into the locker, so we're not getting things that may be not school appropriate. And that's kind of how it went. So last year, I just wanted to kind of bring in the numbers just because I think it speaks volumes to the community and the program and our sponsors. Last year, we just piloted at the middle school. And if you remember, I said, you're going to have 30 kids. Well, we started September last year with 8. And by the end of the school year, we had 134 middle school kids enrolled into the program. So it was pretty amazing what happened there. And then we had 103 sponsors last year. And then we take a break over the summer because we're obviously not here. And again, student safety is most important. And then I started having people come up to me like, why can't we do this at Jackson? Why can't we do this at Tibbetts, Westside, the high school, and so on. And so this year we opened it up to everybody, did work with the school principals, PTAs, whoever's in that school. And right now it's very amazing because it just blows me away that our students are getting this kind of encouragement. But at Jackson right now, we have enrolled 67 students. We have 20 at Tibbetts, 42 at Westside, 128 at the middle school. And then we have 21 high school students. And the high school students, we don't want to disrupt their day because they're working towards career, different things. Theirs gets mailed directly to their house. But those 21, just to give you an idea, all 21 of those were in last year as eighth graders and continued forward with the program because it meant so much to them. So we get a release from the parent to mail directly and tell the parent to, you open the encouragement at home first, check it. If there's something problem, let us know. So we have right now in Elkhorn, we have a total of 278 students, and we have 222 sponsors that are sponsoring those students. Really cool part of that is also, we talked to Carrie Brockman because she came forth and said, well, what about kids sponsoring kids? Because that's huge. If students can encourage other students, like that's a win-win situation for both sides. And so now we have the entire National Honor Society at the high school sponsoring kids that are in elementary or middle school. So they're writing monthly encouragements to them. Just a couple really quick testimonies because we evaluated the program, and this was a huge feat in itself because we send stuff home, as a teacher, I send stuff home and I might not get every parent to respond back. Last year, we had about 96% of our surveys of evaluation at the end of the year come back to us. And on that, the parents could kind of tell us what it meant. And there was a particular student that the parent had said, in years past, they had a really bad attendance record. And then in September of last year, they had missed like 10 days of school in the month of September. And we enrolled them in the program in October, and October to January, they missed 0 days of school. And the parents said that that's a lot of what it was. I just, this week, you know, we're only in the second week of school, had a parent that their child was filled with so much anxiety, they were not coming to school or were trying to go home early. So they were struggling. And so I talked with the sponsor, got them to get their encouragement going right away. And now we've had 3 days of solid there all day long, not down in the nurse's office at school. So the program really does have a lot of power in it. This year, we're adding 4 events that'll take place at the middle school, just because with the events, we want to, again, safety is the most important thing. So we want to be able to see, you know, the students with the sponsor, if the sponsor chooses to come and the student chooses to come as well. So we will have 4 events that we will do this year. So that's basically how it works. We also have where people can partner with us financially, and for $100, it sponsors a kid, and our writing team will write the encouragement. The same person does the same encouragement, but it's sponsored by somebody else, and put a small, we say $10 or less gift if they choose to put a gift in there, because it really is about the written encouragement, and that's all the feedback that we've gotten. So I just wanted to present it and come forth for any questions that you may have. Or
I have a few questions. You mean last year, it sounds like when you did it in the middle school, you got a 15 times from the beginning to the end of the school year, approximately. I mean, some of your numbers, specifically the high school, are a little bit lower right now. Are you looking to?
Well, it's the first year with the high school.
Well, you know, yeah, but I'm like, are you hoping for that same type of increase at the high school as well, or something similar, or?
I would absolutely love that. The high school, we didn't put out there like, this is open to every single solitary student because of the safety piece and the encouragement getting mailed home. So we have like the student, all the 8th graders from last year are basically what these 21 students are, and counselors have reached out to me if there's a couple mixed in that weren't in it last year. But yes, I mean, we would love to go nationwide. We would love for Elkhorn to be the model of this is how it works in a school. So yes, we'd love to expand, but we don't want to expand so that we have a negative effect of like, we don't have enough sponsors or something along those lines. So yes, we would absolutely love to expand more to every single high school student. And it's been neat because like the cheer squad at the high school, they actually sponsor a student, and they did last year as well. So that is huge when a whole sports team can give back to the community and our students as well. So we're just keeping working on that. But if it's any indication to last year, we started with, you know, like 8 or 9 right away in September, and we exploded to 134. You know, we have to be ready for that as an organization too.
That kind of, your second part kind of answered my second question, which was, I mean, kind of where do the sponsors come from? I understand they're volunteers, of course, but like, where do they come from? But it sounds like you're getting it from all over the place, including, you know, the cheer team. So that's good. That's great.
Yep. And our sponsors, we really believe with the program, no matter where it is. One of the things that we talk about and we believe in is it has to be the community that is supporting these students. You know, we do have some sponsors that are from, I call them like singlet sponsors, you know, like my mom, for example, is in Florida and she's sponsoring a couple of her friends, you know, so there's people here and there. But for the most part, it's almost all of Elkhorn. So it just goes to show how much the community really does support the schools and them being encouraged. So we're very grateful for that.
And to clarify, and I give, you know, Eric all the credit in the world in coming up with this idea, this concept. Love Beyond Measure is not a school program. It's a separate outside organization. It gives them greater flexibility. They have different types of supports that the kids can select, up to including faith-based supports and so forth. So I think there's, you know, and the parents, and you match sponsors with the kids based on some of that aspect. So it is an outside organization, which gives some of that flexibility on that. And I think you've probably even been a little taken back by how much interest, because you've had people contacting you from all over the country wanting to start similar chapters in their own communities and their own schools.
think it has started in a couple of other schools, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a couple more local schools here. There's a virtual school, and then we've had Missouri contact us, a Kentucky school contact us, and then a couple other more local, around Walworth County and just outside have contacted us to try to get it started in their school. Any other questions?
I'll just say that, my husband and I sponsored a student last year. We're continuing to sponsor the same student this year, and, it's, we're empty nesters, and so it's been really fun for us to, be involved in a kid's life again. And we feel the blessing, of being involved as much as the child does, I think.
And even with that, it's been really cool because we've had some students that have moved out of the district, and we believe that they're still like a part of us, at least till the end of the year. And so the sponsor has actually continued to sponsor them. Like we had a student move to Arizona. Some have moved to, different places around here, and the best we can. We can't always, but if we can, we try to send our Elkhorn love, towards them as well.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for doing what you do.
Thank you.
Approval of the school board minutes. We have, regular and closed session. All of you should have received a packet with the closed session minutes. Everyone's here, so I believe we can, well, we'll still do a roll call vote. But we can combine them. Oh, you're right. We have to separate them. Sorry. Thank you for that reminder.
Okay. I move to approve the minutes of August 28th, 2023. No, excuse me. Do we have any questions, I guess, first?
I think we're good.
Good? All right.
I'm looking for a motion.
I move to approve the minutes of August 28th, 2023, regular and closed session, school board meeting as presented.
Let's just do regular.
Regular,
We can do it combined because there's.
because they're separate on here, because the 30th is separate from the 28th.
Okay, got it. Yes, I see that. Thank you. All right, go ahead. Correct. Let's do them separately.
Okay. All right. So I move to approve the minutes of the August 28th, 2023 regular session school board meeting as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
All right, Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Abstain.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
and then Mr. Barkus. This would be a great abstention. Mr. Barkus? Just say
You would say
abstain.
abstain
Yeah.
because you weren't there.
Because you weren't there, so that's the reason why. And then Mr. Forster. Am I saying it right?
Forster, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, and then looking for a motion for the closed session from August 28th.
Move to approve the minutes for August 28th, 2023 closed session school board meeting as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mr. Barkus, and Mr. Forster.
Abstain.
Okay.
Then August.
And then I need a motion to approve the minute from the August 30th closed session.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of August 30th, 2023, closed session school board meeting as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the August 30th closed session school board meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Abstain.
Mr. Barkus,
Abstain.
Mr. Forster.
Abstain.
General and other fund bills. Bill, do you have a report for us
I
tonight?
do. The general and other fund bills covers text number 150016 through 150165, wire transfer number 196 through 203, and ACH ACH checks number 088 through 123 in the combined amount of $753,575.56. And then I put a memo together trying to address maybe a number of the questions you may have, the bills.
That was a long list.
It was a long list. There are a
That's
lot
good
of
though.
bills.
Once again, the wizard accomplished like 50% of it at least. So,
Are there any questions for Mr. Tron?
yes.
Okay.
I haven't been here to see Skyward yet. I know we pay for it, but is it like once a year that we pay for it, or is it?
It's an annual license for Skyward, and I think that probably was paid a couple of board meetings ago. What you have in your packet today was some additional storage capacity.
Okay.
And then there's a smartphone app that we use as well that you can access the system. So it includes financial student record data. It's our main database for the school district.
Is that so parents can have the app? on
That's
their phone?
the parent access
Got it.
piece.
Nice.
So, and probably, I'd say probably 90% of the school districts in the state probably have that as their financial. They may use a different package for their student record. But
Okay.
that's what Skyward is.
Next one, Seniors on the Go. What is this? I've never heard of
Seniors
this.
on the Go is a transportation service that we use for certain special ed students that are attending programs outside the
Okay.
district.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's just the name of the service.
Yeah, I know.
It
Yeah,
is,
of course. Yeah.
I know.
Then we
It's-
just do
Transportation.
So overwear apparel. I'm 95% sure I know what this was, but what was it, please?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, well,
Which one?
Which
There
one?
were some youth football orders.
I only saw one for overwear apparel. Hold 1 second. I will find it for you.
Yeah, it usually.
Here it
looks
is.
like that.
$1,488. It's one charge on the 12th.
That would have been either the coaches shirts or the youth football t-shirts.
Okay, well, that wasn't what I thought it was, but that's okay.
Yeah, the middle school.
Did it say youth football?
Yeah, it just says MSSPLS.
Middle school.
Yeah.
specials.
That's for
Specials.
youth football players, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Okay. Okay. All right, next thing, Elkhorn Chamber of Commerce. It says it's, food voucher for teachers. What is
Oh,
that?
For all of our employees, it's kind of a welcome back. We provide them, it's a $10 gift certificate. They can use it in a local business
Got it.
here in town.
We used to do the lunch and bring it in, and it was too expensive, really congested, and this gave them an opportunity to go out and use multiple different
Gotcha.
businesses.
Okay. They kind of go where they want to go rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Last one is the Avid charges. All right, let me see. There was a few questions that I had on those. So number one, there was a cancellation fee. I'm assuming someone canceled?
Correct.
Okay. All right, where did they go when they went to the Abbotts?
The Summer Institute, I believe, was in Minneapolis.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I mean, the rest of them just kind of pertains to all that stuff, so.
The Grand Hall. and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, yep. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the general and other fund bills of September 11, 2023, check numbers 150016 to 150165, wire numbers 196 to 203, and ACH numbers 088 to 123, and the combined amount of $753,575.56 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the general and other fund bills of September 11th, 2023, check numbers 150016 to 150165, wire numbers 196 to 203, and ACH numbers 088 to 123, in the combined amount of $753,575.56 as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre?
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mr. Gatton?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Barkus?
Abstain.
Mr. Forster?
Abstain.
I'll put your vote down as abstention. You can vote on those now.
Do they have the minutes?
No, you may not have.
Yeah,
They're not
so-
the minutes.
Well, I mean,
financials.
did they have the financials?
No, but.
Okay,
they're-
so
That's all right.
next time you guys can vote. Okay. Financial Stability Advisory Committee.
Yeah, so at the last board meeting, the school board received all of the letters of interest related to the ad hoc committee. With the exception of, there were two errors I take full responsibility for. One of the letters of interest was found in my spam folder. That was for Teresa Boger. And then I also, in the accounting of that, writing down the names, as I went through the meeting. Somehow I had missed Rob's. I know that had been considered and included. So I let Rob know the oversight on my part. He was appreciative. He did attend the first meeting. I let Teresa know as well, and that I would bring it forward to the board to see if the board wanted to consider expanding that by those two seats and including them as official members. Both did attend the first meeting as unofficial members of the committee, but wanted to bring that up, and I'll be sure to check my spam folders on anything like that.
I mean, I'd have no problem adding that to the committee, so.
Yeah, there's zero consent on my part. I would like to, I mean, if we've got a few seconds, I'd like to just kind of explain to everybody, and if I do want to pipe in also, just kind of how that meeting went. It went really, really well. Bill went over a lot of like the beginning stuff of the entire financial situation, how we got to where we're at now, the history of it, all the bills that have come well before many of us. And then in addition to that, we also worked on how we wanted to kind of format the end result as it came down. What I mean by that is we talked about a minority report is one thing that we did discuss about, making sure that we had everybody's voice heard, and it wasn't just just the majority of individuals, because there may be some good ideas in that minority report. We also talked about, that was one idea. The other idea that we had was, and Ed came up with this one, was just a ranking of hey, the majority of people like this one, and the majority of people like this one, and then everything in between from there. And that way it was just kind of, hey, everybody agreed with this part, but not as many people agreed with this idea down here. It was a really good idea. I loved it. And I think that, honestly, I think the ad hoc committee is going to go really well from here on. I think we're going to have some good ideas.
Good report.
How many total people are on the committee?
Off the top of my head, 22.
Okay.
17.
And were there additional people beyond, other than,
There were
Robin.
additional that weren't selected.
so there were additional people that attended?
No,
I think we have one.
one,
Yeah. citizen.
Okay, other than Robin.
well,
Yeah.
Teresa attended, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't believe there were additional besides Rob and Teresa.
There was one. citizen.
Oh, one other,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Okay.
So I think in order to do that, because it is an official ad hoc committee, we just need that motion to those two.
I'll move to add Rob Handel and Teresa Boger as members of the Financial Stability Advisory Committee as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to add Rob Handel and Teresa Boger as members of the Financial Stability Advisory Committee. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre,
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart,
Yes.
Mr. Gatton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles,
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow,
Yes.
Mr. Barkus,
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Okay.
And Jason Kim brought up something about that. I guess from now on, let's make sure, if we can, just get a report every week or every school board meeting from that.
Yeah, just to include that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All right, report and discussion items. First item is the student representative report. Did you guys prepare anything? You did?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. What, are you both talking or are you?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right.
For the high school, our first week, the seniors kicked off the year with a senior sunrise. You can see in the bottom left hand of the screen. And then our weekly student success time was used for community building activities and things like that.
What'd you do with the senior sunrise?
It
Is
was
this a new
just-
thing?
I think it's been
A couple
years
years.
past.
Okay.
But
Couple
it was
years.
just, we got the 6 a.m. Ooh. It was just
And what'd you
all the
guys do?
seniors hanging out, playing yard games,
Okay.
breakfast. just
Cool.
Look at it.
It's great. They start out the year super excited with the
Yeah.
senior sunrise to be back, and they finish with senior skip day.
Was that something that got started just like organically, or was that something that was? They, the senior sunrise, was that like an organic thing where students just kind of made it up themselves, or was it an idea coming from up high somewhere? Do you know?
Oh, I don't really know where it, like, how far back it
Do you
originated,
know
but I
Richard
know.
Hill or high school staff?
The first one that I attended, the kids came to me last year
Okay.
and asked me if they could do it. So it was basically just open up the gate and let them
Yeah.
in. And then Colin Gayhart asked me this year if they could do it. Yeah, go ahead. I forgot, so I didn't even go.
Very cool. I love new traditions. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
That's
Was that good for the high school? Or? Okay.
For the middle school, I'll go from left to right here. The EAMS band rejoins to kick off the start of the new year. Middle school students get back into the flow of learning by participating in icebreaker activities. As you can see in the picture, they all made their own name tags. And then the far right, the Associate Bank has generously put in a lot of dedication to pack over 200 snack baggies for students to fill them throughout the day.
Jackson Elementary School, from left to right as well again. Every year working on reading stamina and using math tools to improve their learning.
The West Side Wildcats get their energy out on the first day of school by going outside for recess and only settling down to take this photo.
That's on their new playground.
Yes, I see that.
The students practice their good reading skills and stamina by working efficiently during work time.
Tibbetts Elementary works on reading, so there's stuffed animals, and this last Friday, they also had a Packers versus Bear dress up.
Nice.
There will be free development screening for children between the ages of 3 and 5 living in the Elkhorn Area School District on October 9th, January 24th, 2023, or 2024, and March 4th of 2024. And it was the last day of Picture Day for Options Virtual School on August 24th. They've now kicked off their program for the new school year.
Career and College Academy. Next week, Elkhorn Youth Build students will be building walls at the Habitat for Humanity home. And the Autism Parent and Caregiver Support Group will be meeting next week, Thursday, September 14th at 6 p.m. in the Friends Room at the Matheson Memorial Library.
All right. So, I want to officially welcome both of you and thank you for serving. Tell us, would you guys be able to just give us a little bit of like, what year are you in school? What, clubs or sports or what are you guys involved in? So go ahead.
Faden Forster, I'm a senior at the Elkhorn Area High School. I'm very active in basketball and track and sports, and student council is another big part of the time at high school.
Okay, wonderful. I want you.
My name is Nick Barkus. I play soccer and basketball, and I'm the vice president of student council and also participate in NHS.
Nice.
What the NHS? Oh, junior.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. All right.
And good start to the school year over at the high school? Excellent.
All right, we have, a director's report, Tricia Sunday.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity to share about options. It's literally my favorite thing to do. So I have a captive audience. I brought Sarah Stone. My name is Tricia Spendy. I brought Sarah Stone with me tonight. She works with our middle school and high school students. So I thought she might add to the presentation. So we'll get started here. So I thought this evening would be a great opportunity just to share just some tidbits of information. I know Options is, one of 2 charter schools in the Elkhorn Area School District, but not a lot of people know much about it. So I thought this would be a great opportunity. We are a virtual charter school, and a little bit of trivia, maybe you've seen it already, but does anybody know how many virtual charter schools there are in the state of Wisconsin?
62.
Oh, good guess. 62. Gold star. There are 62. Do you know that of those 62, that Options is the 9th largest virtual charter school in Wisconsin? Yes. I thought that was some good information to share with you tonight.
And are we the largest that is not contracted out to an outside organization to manage? When I look at those titles, I believe we need to.
Right. So when we look at the top 9 here, the first one, Rural Virtual Academy, they're literally comprised of 60 districts. So their enrollment being, 1850 there, that's pulling from a lot of districts in a consortium. But they are a 4K-12, which, if you look down here, we are also a 4K-12. Some of the schools on here are just high school or middle school, high school, or some don't include 4K. I went ahead and pulled the 21-22 school report card data because that's the most recent that we have available. But I thought it was important to let you know too that we, of the top 9, I mean, we're in the top 3 as far as like where a report card is. And that can vary some due to the fluidity in our enrollment, especially in the aspect of growth, because we don't always have the same students testing from year to year.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was great information to share with you. Here's just a little historical data about our enrollment. If you look over here, 2014-15, Options started as just an in-house program serving families that were maybe choosing to leave to homeschool or to capture some of the families within our district, partnering with them so that they could be part of, our school. That quickly became important to become a charter in order to access open enrollment because we had students and families, word of mouth is a big thing in our enrollment. So many families were telling other families and they were outside of our school district. DPI says, hey, hold up. If you want to accept open enrolled students, you need to become a charter. So that process happened. But the first student enrollment we had was 67. Who can guess which year was COVID? So that was a big year for us. Also, that was the year that we passed a referendum to purchase the school building that we are in and decided to move forward quicker in that renovation to save some money. So we moved out that year. We moved back in. It was added 400 students and 300 students. It was a tough year.
Fun year.
But just made us stronger.
Which year was it that you moved into the school and we were renting the school?
So that was 2016.
Okay.
So prior to renting St. Pat's, our programs for any of the blended learning happened, at the library or at Jackson.
And then we started renting and then First-
is when we passed our referendum and purchased the school building.
Yes,
Yeah, but they had to move out
Right.
to allow the renovation to take place, so we rented the old
Health and Human Services.
building
Yes.
from Aurora.
Yep.
That was, yeah.
Yes.
So that's just a little historical look
Yeah.
at our data there. So, but I think this is pretty exciting here. Becoming a charter obviously allowed us to have open enrolled students, and that's a huge part of our population. Right now, we're sitting at 305 students. 191 of those are out of our district. 114 resident students. Those students, I think, are very important. It's very important to point out that 114 students in the district are choosing to stay in the district. So that's sort of a loss avoidance by having this opportunity to provide something different for families when a traditional school experience isn't what they're looking for.
When we started the options program initially, we were losing over 30 students a year to virtual schools. And that was the equivalent of, in today's open enrollment dollars, that'd be well over $250,000 a year going out to other districts
Yeah.
to provide.
So I think, although that's not our biggest portion of our students, they're very important.
Yeah.
Also, at 62% open enrolled, that we then become separate from the district school report card. So our school report card score isn't factored into the district score. 2/3 of our students attend in person at Option. So over 200 students, are accessing our school building for different opportunities, which I'll talk about later. So here's some dollars and cents. There's a different amount that we receive for students who have an IEP versus not. We have 31 students with IEPs, 160 of that 191 open enrolled students. So this is just open enrolled. So if you do the math, that's nearly 1.8 in revenue generated through open enrollment and options. Where do all those students come from? This is, kind of mesmerizing to me, but not really surprising. We pull most of our students from Delavan, our surrounding areas, but we're really in 45 districts across the state.
I think it's, when you say most, but it's only 15% of those open enrolled.
Right.
So it's really
Right,
spread out.
yes. And so that kind of lends itself to, for our in-person programming, those students are, within driving distance. But it doesn't, we have students that drive in for academy, which I'll talk about in a minute, from Racine, from different, they'll drive up to 45 minutes pretty much to come, even for a 3-day program. So, why do families choose options? What does options have to offer? We have some pretty amazing students and families. I think having that building to have our virtual charter school, a virtual charter school with a building is something special. So we're really more of a hybrid type of school, but it gives that place. A lot of families who are looking at virtuals, you see someone a lot of our families who contact us and talk about enrolling their child in a virtual school are blown away. Like, you actually have a place where we can have a community. We do extensive field trips, at least 2 a month. We do supplemental activities. We try to do, for our field trips, we try to do one in-house, local, it's free, and then one that's a little bit further out that might cost a few dollars. But we wear stickers so our families can find each other and meet. We just had a party in the park at Sunset Park, and we had about 150 students and families there, and it's a great way for them to meet each other. So there are many, many reasons why families choose options. I'm not going to read them all, but one main reason is that they just want to be more involved in their child's school.
They have a lot more if they're book-based student, which I'll talk about in just a second, there's just a lot more choice in curriculum. But yet they still have that opportunity to have some of the things that they want in a district. So it's kind of an a la carte experience for them. But we really have some amazing students. We have a student who is she's a nationally ranked baton twirler, and she's in 5th grade this year, coming to our academy, and we offer that family of the flexibility because they travel for competitions, usually Friday through Sunday. So she can bring her schoolwork on the road with her. So we serve students like that. We serve students who have health issues that make attending school difficult. So we're there for them. And a lot of expelled students. So we are one of 35 of those 62 virtual schools. We are 35 offer schooling for students who are expelled. So we have students in, the far northern counties that reach out to us and say, can you provide an online curriculum for us? Absolutely. So, we provide the curriculum and the staff, but sometimes it's a heavy load. It is. Because they don't always have the support. Yeah. So we try to do that too. So at the 4K through 8, we have 3 options, 3 menu items. I say we have the book-based, and that is it looks like a traditional schooling at home, where our teachers meet with the family. They're paired up. They work together as a team. We provide a choice of curriculum for them to use, a learning plan. They meet regularly to talk about what they're going to turn in for their portfolio, if they're having any difficulties. All of our students are still expected to do state testing. We still do map testing and all the same testing. Then we have an online program for our K-8. It's asynchronous, so it's not like I have teachers who log on at 9 o'clock for your math class. It's not that type of online. They can access it anytime, 24 hours a day. But our teachers are there for the grading and the support, and the online study halls and in person. And then our academy, which is really popular with our families, that kind of gives that hybrid experience where they're there with us for instruction on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they have take-home work for Friday and Monday to complete. And then all of our students are offered art, music, PE, STEM, and field trips. I'll let Sarah talk about middle school, high school supports.
So we are more virtual at the middle school level and high school level. So we have some students who are coming in for academy at 6th grade. Right now we have 9 that are working with our students, staff. But our virtual students, 6th grade through 12th grade, some of them come to us with a need for that consistent support. So in our middle school, we do what's called Step Up. So that's a daily meeting with their teacher. And they're meeting with their teacher to plan what their homework is for the week, how to finish that homework on time, how to get the support for questions to get their test proctored. So they're meeting every day with the teacher. And then our Futures program is for our students who I would say are a little more needy. They might be expelled. They might be coming to us with a special ed need. They might be a struggling learner, or they might be experiencing some mental health that needs that support as well. So they're meeting with teachers 4 hours a day, 4 days a week. So the teachers cycle in, our special ed teacher, our school counselor, and our high school teachers are working with those Futures kids. And we have about 20 in that program right now. And then we also offer college credit, which I'll talk about a little bit later, as well as work-based learning, which we started work-based learning a couple of years ago, and it's growing. So we're going to talk about that later as
well. Just a shout out to our amazing staff and our volunteers. This is our staff. We run with a small staff, and we have just about as many volunteers as we do as our staff. And we have parent volunteers and we have volunteers that I have just, met in the community and they had to listen to me talk about options and they say, I think I might want to volunteer. So we are so blessed to have, retired kindergarten teachers and, just, they're there with their hearts, every week. So a huge shout out to them. I thought I would just quick share, our goals for the 23-24 school year. So it kind of ties into a couple things. One is our enrollment. We want to continue to grow that enrollment. And at our elementary level, we tend to be pretty stable. You have your a few fluctuations in and out. Some families choose to, go private schools, some homeschooling, but for the most part, our younger students stay. But as a way to keep our high school students from this revolving door that most virtual schools, tend to have, we want to get them into either work-based learning experiences or have them, on track for a technical diploma or an associate's degree, because that will keep them here and it will draw more in. I put Anna's picture up there. She was our first student in options to graduate with an associate's degree when she graduated from high school. So we need more Annas. And so that's kind of what we wrapped our goals around this year.
I'll add, I also serve as a Gateway trustee. Anna was the first high school student to earn her associate's degree for Gateway Technical College.
Wasn't it electrical engineering?
It was electrical
something-
engineering.
Yeah,
It's not an easy path.
yeah, it's impressive. I heard.
And she was 17.
Yeah.
She wasn't,
She was
as a
18, yeah.
senior, she was 17. So yeah, I'll let Sarah tap into our.
So thinking about what we can do for our high school students specifically, we were looking at increasing the number of college classes that were successfully completed. So from 2020, when I started sending students over to Gateway and to Whitewater, and that year you can see the data there. And so we had between 2020 and 2022, then we had quite a number, and then we had a dip last year, and I'm not quite sure why, but this fall we have seen an increase. So those are end of year data for the first 3 years, and the 23-24 is the beginning of the year. So students have already enrolled in more college credits this year than they did for the entire year last year. So we're already hitting that, but as we continue through, I think our focus for helping students to earn certificates and technical diplomas and reach for that associate's degree, I think that focus has helped students to be more focused as well.
And providing that support for them too, to be successful in those courses.
Our second goal is to work on helping our students gain those associate's degree and technical diplomas. So 21-22 was obviously our first year for our associate degree. Last year, we had 5 students who earned a certificate, 3 who earned 2 technical diploma, 3 students who earned a technical diploma, and then I had 1 student who missed the associate's degree by 3 classes. By 3 classes. He was on the front of our,
But right now we have
9 that are on
9.
track.
Nice.
Okay.
So, and 3 that are, and I just had a student today who finalized her spring, and she is on track for a certificate as well. So it's already increasing. And then our last one is for school to work. When we started, we kind of dabbled. Tricia had a good plan, and then we added what Mr. Trotter gave us from DPI for the employability certificate. So we kind of merged all of that information, and we had 2 students who helped us pilot the work study program. So what it is they can take the work study class, which Mr. Hazer, our school counselor, does. He delivers that. They learn about resumes and how to apply for a job and all those pieces that they need to be successful. But then DPI offers an employability certificate, and to earn that, you have to have 90 work hours, and you have to hit those criteria for the employability certificate. So last year we had 7 students, and I'm telling you to listen to them explain their experience, because their exit is they have to do a presentation. And I had a young lady, who's going to give this little anecdote. She came to me as a sophomore. She'd had a really severe concussion, which changed her brain. So she struggled and struggled and struggled, and we worked to get her a youth apprenticeship, and she hated her youth apprenticeship. And so she did a work study at the very end last year. And the presentation she gave was the most beautiful presentation, and her excitement over, she was working for Porsche and she was a gopher. She was go for this and go for that. And she said, but they value me and they're training me, and this is the most exciting thing I've ever done. And I think I can do this in my future. She was just, that's why we do what we do. It just connects those kids into those opportunities, and then they're super stoked about it. And so it helps them to see a different kind of future. So the work study is continuing. Right now, we have 7 that are on par for getting their work study, and then 3 that are working on their youth apprenticeship. And then I have 3 more that we would like to add this year for youth apprenticeship.
That is all I have for you.
Does anybody have any questions or? Sarah or Tricia?
No, I know me, Adam, and Heather here went at the beginning of the year. We were doing a tour of all the places, and we went to options, and it was great. We learned a lot. When we went there, we learned about the young lady who got the electrical engineering degree, and I mean, my kids are going to go on options for us since we've moved here. So thank you for all you guys do. Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, resignation of school board member and our next step.
Okay, Mr. O'Donnell did submit a letter of resignation that, for board policy. We share those at the school board meetings. That's a copy of his letter. Want to thank Matt for his service. I believe it was approaching, I think this was 15th
He was
year.
in his 15th year now.
15th year of service as a school board member. Yeah, and just a big thank you for Matt for his service. Next steps, would be to fill that board vacancy. So after this meeting, or after, the official announcement of that resignation, then there's 60 days in which to fill that. So I'll work with Jody to begin the process of putting out the posting. It's just like a job posting, and then the letters of application, and the board can determine to do that interview process and make a selection. Any questions, comments, or thoughts related to that?
Yeah, Jason, how much is left in Matt's term?
Matt's term goes through April, so that individual wouldn't have to choose to run in December, but if they wanted to continue beyond April, then they would need to run for office in this end of December. They have to file. for
Yeah,
that.
so that
I just wasn't sure where he was
Yep.
in the.
he would be up for reelection this next
Yeah,
spring.
and either way, I believe even if he wasn't up for election, that seat would become,
It
because
would.
there's an election, it would have been required to
Yes.
come open. Yeah,
Yes.
because it was prior to the next election. All right.
Okay, staff listening sessions.
I thought it would be good. I know that was a closed session. I appreciate Mr. Brown sharing his comments related to the staff listening sessions. I think they went really good. I think it was very much appreciated. I think we had a lot of positive feedback. I know administration received a lot of positive feedback as well, and the staff appreciate having that time with the school board. The one recurring offering that I received in feedback is that I'd like to do it again in the future, but not on the opening week of in-service.
Right. Yeah.
Look at a different in-service date. It's a really, they're in that
Yep.
mode to get ready for school. So I think we can certainly take that into consideration. We have a great list of other ideas that I believe are actionable and things that we can
Yes.
do forward.
I found it very valuable.
Yes.
I'm very glad that we had that time with you guys.
And Jody, I know you're probably listening, maybe not, but either way, like you did great on the notes for letting us know like what was said during those sessions, so we can go back and really try to make some changes based off of what we heard in those sessions. And thank you to all the teachers and administration and support staff that came and took the time out of their day to be able to help us learn and figure out what we need to know to be able to make some decisions going forward. Thank you.
That's very good.
Any other thoughts or comments on that?
We get lunch in the middle next time instead
Yeah.
Just set a timer so
No
we know, okay, we're at time for this session. Yeah, we went over, and I feel really bad. There was the last group, I think, was waiting 45 minutes for it because we were running
Yeah,
over. So
exactly.
I'll have to set that task with a timer or build in more time for each group. Yes, that next item on there, COVID leave. This actually came up at the staff listening session, but this was something that, every year, I think, we looked at it last year as well, and we kind of thought, well, are we at the point where we can drop or move away from that? Just as a reminder, and for some of you weren't board members when we put this into place, but when we had the COVID pandemic, we put in place 10 days of leave that was specifically designated per staff member per year for COVID. It doesn't roll over, it doesn't carry over, it doesn't stay in. It's just if you test positive for COVID, or if you had a kid who tested positive, you're required to stay home with them as a result. And they had that additional leave. And that was done as a goodwill gesture, recognizing that especially young teachers, I think, who don't have a sick leave bank built up, who might be planning a family or something down the road, it really eats into that sick leave, which then makes it difficult on paternity leaves and leaves like that. And I, in my mind, thought, okay, COVID, we're past that. We're seeing spikes around the country. We've had several staff members test positive for that. They've inquired relating to the COVID leave. And the recommendation from HR and from our district nurse is, because the CDC guidelines are still that if you test positive, that you stay home for a minimum of 5 days. And then you can return to work, recommended that you're masked up if your symptoms are significantly alleviated. But that required stay at home could still be from 5 to 10 days. And they want staff to follow those guidelines and not lie about when they're positive with COVID, because we don't want to spread that to other staff members and adults in school, because our sub pool is really low and it's true there. So the recommendation is that we continue that leave for another year. It's not in our handbook. It's just a provision that was kind of given the thumbs up to administration. So in looking at that, I guess I just want to have a discussion from the board. Are we okay continuing that from a general consensus standpoint, or thoughts or feelings on that? I do think it brought a lot of goodwill for the staff at a minimal cost and a good positive reputation for the school district.
Jason, we are the only school district that
We are
did that
the,
last year, right?
correct. We were the only ones that provided the COVID leave last year in our area that.
Right, in our area.
Jason, we're basing that off of all those numbers that you're talking about, the 5 days leave, et cetera, off of the CDC recommendations, correct?
Correct.
We have any
And I
CDC
asked Mary to also follow up with the county health department, because really that's who we end up in there following those guidelines.
Okay. Do we have any recommendations in regards to any other thing, the flu or anything else like that?
They do. It varies on each one. Yeah. So the
do we give
flu
them
is
flu leave?
24 hours fever free and symptoms reduced, or each illness has a different.
CDC said
criteria.
5 days for the flu. It's the same thing as COVID right now. And so, I mean, the reason I'm asking is, do we have leave specific for the flu?
We don't.
Okay.
And I don't believe if the CDC is saying 5 days for the flu, then I'd have to double check, because that's not our school program.
Yeah, I'm on here right now looking at it. I'll email it to you real quick.
What's that? Heather, you're a nurse, what?
Yes, so flu, the general rule is 24 hours fever free without use of fever reducer. and
No vomiting.
diminishing symptoms. Vomiting and diarrhea is actually not influenza. That is considered norovirus, and that's a whole nother set of rules.
Right.
So so I know our flu guidelines that we've been following has been that 24 hours fever free.
Are you looking for something from us, Jason?
Thoughts? Guidance in that aspect, yeah.
How many COVID leave days did we grant last year?
A great question. I don't have that number. I'd have to follow up and get that. Anybody? We don't, the first year when we were in that pandemic, we had maybe 1 or 2 cases where we felt it was abuse, Bill, but overall it's been, really well respected.
Can you talk a little bit more about if we were to not do COVID leave days, what, so they would use their
So they would
days
use their
first.
sick leave first.
Yep.
And then we do have by board policy a crisis leave. So someone utilized all their sick leave. There is that safety net that is there for them. I think the only downside is that they would use up that leave bank for future or other needs or utilization. Because we are covered. So like when they go on paternity leave, that's not a qualifier for crisis leave, if that makes sense.
So if they go on paternity leave, what are they leaving, or what are
They
using
get
at
to
that
go
point?
on paternity leave under FMLA, but they only get paid based on the number of sick leave days that they have.
Oh, I see. Okay.
What if I'm just throwing this out there, the guidance speaks to the 5 days. And then I know working in healthcare, we have the 5-day policy. You come back masked for 5 days. And I'm working in healthcare with vulnerable population. So I would be in favor of maybe a 5-day paid COVID versus the 10-day. I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Would you like me to bring it? We could put it on the next board agenda. We could put it as an actual action item. I can have Taylor come and share the data as well, how many days were used and so forth.
That would be helpful.
That'd be very present. Why don't we do that rather than, because I'd rather the board have all those facts, that piece, and then have that presentation. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Sure.
Then we'll bring that as an actionable item.
Sure.
Either way, okay.
All right, personnel recommendations.
All right, attached is the personnel sheet. We have a handful of resignations. Michelle Kennedy, who was a school secretary at Jackson. Skylar Z is a Westside teaching assistant. Danielle Simons is a Westside teaching assistant. Tyler Gibbs is a Westside cook. And a number of hires: Kylie Hastings, Brenda Aarons Reed, and Luke Undes as a boys soccer assistant.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Tadlock? We need a motion to.
Move to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for September 11th, 2023, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening as presented.
Second. Okay, go ahead. It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel recommendation sheet for September 11th, 2023, including new employment contracts conditioned upon passing the background check and district mandated drug screening as presented. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Barkus?
Yes.
And Mr. Forster?
Yes.
All right, school gifts.
Okay, we have a couple of large school gifts to present this evening. Joanne Schaefer has donated 2 covers for the long jump and triple jump pits at the track, valued at $6,000. And the Lee family, in memory of Joanne Lee, has donated $4,000 to the West Side Library to purchase books.
Thank you very much to both of those individuals. Joanne has been an amazing contributor to our school district. Just incredible.
I'll move to accept the generous school gifts as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the generous school gifts. And I think we can just do all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. All right, second reading of the new and revised policies.
Hey, I did not receive any further feedback related to the district curriculum policy. Since the last meeting, are there any points that would like to be discussed before? voting on this?
I'd like to move that the flag policy go back to committee. I think we want to sit and determine, maybe we want a list of flags that we want pre-approved versus having them come to the, school board for approval.
I disagree with that.
I'm all right with that. I'm with that. Can I speak on it?
I also want
Well,
to.
we're on
Well,
the
it's-
district curriculum policy at the moment,
Okay.
so we need to
Anything
do
on
something.
yeah, we may need to just break that out into different motions, that's fine, but anything on the district curriculum policy?
No, I'm looking forward to Thursday.
Okay. All right, the flag policy, I think that's where, Ed, you have a motion to table and send back to committee, and Kevin has a second. But then now we can have discussion.
So I'll start. I wrote it. And I have no problem with this, and bear with me, everybody in here, because usually I don't sleep at this time of year and I get a little goofy, so I apologize. This policy came from me and my history and the things that I've seen and done. God doesn't make mistakes, so of course it's on 9/11. Just so that the community knows too, I spent the morning driving around the community fixing flags, putting them at half staff. And I met several individuals that asked me why I was doing it. And a couple of them forgot, which is what it is. I wrote the policy very specific, saying that the American flag is the unifying flag, and Julie touched on this morning earlier about 9/12. I wear this shirt every day. I've actually got 2 of them because I keep stating it. And the one thing that unites this country is the American flag, and we put our soldiers under the American flag. I carried this American flag on 9/12 in New York City on 9/11/2001. I carry it with me a lot as a reminder. We are in a time now where we are divided as a country. There is no, I want to go on record with this, there is no intent against any particular flag. I believe that this community is working on being accepting of things that they may or may not understand. I think that that's very important. Quite frankly, I'm a little bit insulted that this has been spun, but everybody's perception is reality. And Jeff, you said sorry, I know I shouldn't be addressing everybody, but Jeff said that the actions speak louder than words, and sir, if your child ever is in, and I've offered this to other community members, your child is bullied, I'll walk with them to class. I have no problem doing that. If there's bullying or anything against a certain community, we need to handle it. We need to address it because it's just unacceptable. That said, the stars and stripes are right now the most important thing for all of us to unify under. And that includes every community, every color, creed, religion. It includes everybody. And if you read the policy, it's very specific to the American flag. It's the only flag that will be displayed. It's flag. That is not discriminating against anyone. That is not discriminating against a certain group. And I'm pretty insulted that it was. If anybody wants to ask me more about why that's insulting, I'm happy to have that conversation. That said, also, I did, and I asked Dan if I can mention this, but I did sit down with Dan Keel a couple of days ago, and he brought to my attention that some of the teachers were upset with policy, and they thought that it was attacking a certain group. And we had a good conversation about it. Again, perception is reality. It is not attacking anyone. It's not attacking any group. I'm okay. I don't know how it works I don't know how it works to get back, or if we have how that all goes down, but I think it's pretty messed up that this is being spun into something that it's not. This is a policy that I wrote by, and that's it. It's not banning anything. So it's disappointing that's how it's received. It's insulting that it's received like that. But I'm going to continue to fight for it because I believe that we all need to unite and be a unified community under one flag.
I guess something I would like to say. I spent 6 years at the head of a gay rights organization in Wisconsin. The third largest, in fact, in Wisconsin. I helped to elect gay individuals to the assembly. We broke a barrier by electing the very first gay Republican out of Dodgeville into the assembly. I have worked diligently for the gay community for my entire adult life. I don't do it because I'm gay, because I'm not. I did it because I felt that it was the right thing to do. Just like I am right now. The pride flag, despite what like to be said, pride flag is a political symbol. It is 100% a political symbol. And that is something that we try to eliminate here in our community, in our school district, as much as possible. The political identity in relationship to the pride flag was massive. Every time I went to a pride march, I had the rainbow flag. Every time I went to the Capitol to lobby on behalf of the gay community, it had the rainbow flag. Like anytime that I was dealing with the public in general, trying to educate them on the nuances between the difference between the freedom to marry versus marriage equality, that right there was dealing with politics, and I was wearing the pride flag. This ridiculous notion that all of a sudden, because you guys have a flag up, that it's going to save a life is just not true. You guys have had that flag up for years, and it hasn't saved any of those other children's lives. And I'm sorry that those children have taken their lives. I really am. I've dealt with 37 suicide and suicide attempts in my adult life. Two of them being my son. That pride flag wasn't going to save his life or any of those 37 individuals that I've had to deal with. So I don't want to be hearing about how I'm killing children or letting children die because there isn't a pride flag up in the high school or the middle school or the elementary schools. This is a ridiculous notion. And I don't know where this idea came from. All that's going to happen is tomorrow, in the event that we pass this policy, is all of our fine teachers are going to go in there and continue to take care of our students just like they were today. That's it.
That is it. They know who you are. They know that you support them. They know who to go to when they're having issues. They don't need a pride flag up on the door to be able to know who it is at all. They know that you guys are good people and that you guys are going to protect them and take care of them. And to insinuate in any way, shape, or form that this is in relationship to this policy is in relationship to being, and nobody said it outright, so please don't misunderstand me. I'm paraphrasing here, but homophobic or transphobic is just outwardly ridiculous. That's pretty much all I have to say on the subject.
So we have a motion and a second to table the flag policy and refer it back to policy committee. Is there any further discussion on that motion?
And the whole purpose of my motion is that we have a provision right now in there that says temporary flags representing specific occasion or events be displayed with prior approval of the school. And I would rather have policy committee do some due diligence. And maybe we can come up with a list of what we want to see as part of our overall spirit purpose of the policy versus spending countless hours, doing it, response after response. That's the purpose of it. And it's not just, it's dealing with not only the American flag, but military flags and the Wisconsin state flag. Those are part of the policy as written. And so my purpose is maybe we need to spend a little bit of time together to kind of brainstorm. Maybe we want to do something about breast cancer awareness, for example, or some other subjects that are important for us to readily display those messages. The purpose of why I'm making the request. It's not that I'm against this policy at all.
Right. Neither. It's a language and a clarification than anything else.
Anyone else before, I guess we should probably do a roll call vote on whether to, on that motion.
So the motion is to send it back to policy?
The flag policy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then Mr. Andre?
Just a second.
And you don't like the specific occasion language. That's the issue.
Well, I just think if we don't address it before this becomes policy, we'll be spending a lot more hours on this. And I think we can address it better by addressing, okay, what are some examples of what we're alluding to?
And technical question, if this goes back to policy for the 18th and it gets revised, does it then have to go back to the first reading?
No, it's already been read
No,
once.
it's already been read
Just going to be
once.
as modified, so.
So hypothetically, it goes back to, timeline wise, it'll go back for the 18th to policy. We revise it,
And
the
then on-
following Monday,
Correct.
we vote on it.
We
Correct.
could have it back as a second reading, modified with
Yeah.
modifications.
Yeah, we don't
Okay.
need to do.
Because if we prioritize that on that meeting on that meeting.
Yeah, we can make it first.
Okay, all right. So we fix it and we vote on it in 2 weeks, is what that looks like.
Yep.
Okay, then, yeah, I vote yes, then we can put it in policy next week.
Okay, Mr. Gayheart?
Yes.
Mr. Gatton?
No.
Mrs. Ingersoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles?
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow?
Yes.
Mr. Barkus?
Yes.
Mr. Forster?
Yes.
All right, then the flag policy is tabled, would be out of consideration for that motion. In regards to the email signature policy, is there any feedback or further consideration related to this new policy? I would just add that with this being a new one, we need time and staff training, so forth, just to go through that process.
Should we have that in here if needed? I'm not sure like what.
I don't think it
policy-
needs to be in the policy, but.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just a one-time.
Okay.
I guess maybe in the motion be nice to have them, I don't know, an effective date of. Yeah, well, it'll be effective and it'll be policy, just, you know,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
have probably a couple months to onboard. Yeah. Shouldn't take that long, but some people don't know how to work
Yeah.
the
Like 60
back
days.
end like they did it 6 years ago.
You want like 60 days, 90 days?
Yeah, I think maybe
90 days sounds good. We give us some time.
I move to approve the revised policy 331 district curriculum and the email signature policy with a 90-day implementation period.
Second. I apologize.
Yeah.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the revised policy 331 district curriculum and the email signature policy as modified. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yeah.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Announcements, the curriculum retreat is Thursday, September 14th. Strike that, we're doing that in the Dewey Room upstairs where we held the budget retreat.
Got it.
Same structure format, except it'll start at 4:00 PM. There will be snacks, not a dinner, but it's a full, we'll use the 4 hours. Next policy committee meeting is Monday, September 18th, beginning at 11:00 AM. I know Jody about has that agenda prepared. Just to remind, we do have Neola presenting in that meeting as well. So then we'll make sure to have the flag policy as that top item,
Sure.
along with the Neola presentation. All right. And then we have a quick closed session, which is the adjourn to close.
I move that we adjourn to contemplate closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent C, to discuss the performance of a staff member. The school board will not reconvene in open session.
Is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn to contemplate a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parent 1, parent 6C, to discuss the performance of a staff member. The school board will not reconvene in open session. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Andre.
Yes.
Mr. Gayheart.
Yes.
Mr. Gatton.
Yes.
Mrs. Ingersoll.
Yes.
Mrs. Reckles.
Yes.
Mr. Scarrow.
Yes.
Mr. Barkus.
Yes.
Mr. Forster.
Yes.
Time is 7:48. Thank you, everybody, for attending this evening.
Thank you.